So I became a Christian about 2 weeks before coming to university. I didn't grow up in a Christian family, so I never went to church when I was younger. I never really had any reason to. And then whenever I went to secondary school, I became friends with a lot of Christians quite quickly. And I spent 7 years of school just telling them that I wasn't convinced by any of it, that it just wasn't for me in the slightest. I actually spent a lot of time reading books and blogs by non-Christian authors just to kind of prove them wrong, to prove myself right. Kind of towards the end of school, the last few months for me were just a bit of a difficult time, and one of my friends invited me to his church, and I'd never really been to a service before except for weddings and that type of thing. So I decided I'd go and just see what it was like. Throughout that service, I just felt like everything that the pastor said just felt like it was speaking into my current situation, and that everything he said about Jesus were the things that I was missing in my life. And I still wasn't convinced whatsoever that any of that was real, but I knew that if it was real, then that was exactly what I was missing. So from then on, I kind of went to church myself for a couple of weeks, met a lot of people in the church, spoke to them about why they believed. Eventually I got given a Bible, and I spent that summer reading a lot of the Bible and doing the opposite to what I'd done in the past, and trying to prove that I was wrong and that this actually could be right and this could all be true, and trying just to look into what that would mean if it was true for me. I then made quite a big step 2 weeks before coming to university, and so I spent this one evening praying for the first time to a God that I didn't believe in, and just asking that the next day he would reveal himself to me, and that I would be secure in the fact that this was something I should take and this was the right decision for me. And God in his goodness just answered that prayer for me. The following morning I went to a different church to the one I've been going to, and the sermon was on Joshua 1 with the verse, "Be strong and courageous, do not be afraid, do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." And I'd never heard that before, so I kind of just took that promise into the day with me. And that evening, me and my friends went to a worship service, which is a bit out of the blue. We hadn't planned to go at all. And that whole evening, I just felt like every prayer and every song was just solidifying that promise for me, and that God was just speaking through that service and showing me that he had been there the whole time and would continue to be there for me. And I just broke down in tears because I just realized that I'd turned my back on God for so long, and he'd never once turned his back on me. And I just had no idea. I spent all this time trying to prove that he was wrong. And whenever I opened my eyes and opened my heart to him for the first time, everything just made so much more sense. And so that evening I went home and I gave my life to Jesus, and everything's just been so much better since.